Good morning, and thank you for being here. I'm passing through Uganda for a few days to visit my husband, Dr. Kizza in Luzira prison. I'm on my way back now. I visited him 2 times. I am angry at his situation. Dr. Kizza is 69 years old. He was abducted in November from Kenya. That was a breach of international law and national law. Brought across the border and thrown before the military court. He's a civilian. We challenged that in court. The Supreme Court ruled that he should not be tried. No one should be tried. No one who's a civilian should be tried by the military. He was not released. There was an order to transfer his matter before the civilian courts, but he had first to go on hunger strike because he was being held with no charge before his case was brought before the civilian courts. It's 6 months now. He has applied for bail. He has been denied bail. He has now applied for mandatory bail. It's a right. He's been in jail for more than 180 days. And the courts are playing games and will not give it to him. Every rule in the book seems to be broken when it comes to Dr. Kizza. His rights as a human being are being violated. In the prison where he is, this is a man who's 69. He is locked up in a tiny cell that has a little kamori. Up, doesn't bring in enough light. He's only allowed into a small space that's about a half of this size. This small area we are in. It is concrete, cement. There are no chairs there. That small place is where they eat from, where they cook from. About 15 other prisoners there with him. The 15 others are suspected to be terrorists, to be from ADF. They have denied that. Some of them have been in that prison for more than 10 years. 10 years. They've never been in court. They were just dumped there and forgotten there. Those are the prisoners he's with, all on remand, some for 10 years. He cannot go to the other spaces where other prisoners are, like when they are going to pray, the church, even on Christmas Day. He couldn't join other prisoners to pray. He cannot, they get some entertainment, other prisoners. He cannot go anywhere. He has to go in the prison. He's accompanied by 2 guards. The 2 guards have to make sure that Dr. Besigye doesn't speak to any other prisoner. He is not allowed. Recently, something funny even happened. The guard was guarding him while he's talking to his visitors. Then the guard wanted to go to the toilet, and he stopped the conversation with the visitor and took him with him to accompany him to the toilet, and then returned him to continue talking with his visitor because he cannot leave him alone in the prison just in case he might talk to another prisoner. He had to escort the guard to the toilet. That is how tightly controlled he is. Dr. Besigye has been in this tiny cell, and now he has been attacked by bed bugs. Bed bugs are biting him night and day. It is inhuman what they are doing to him. It is violation of his rights, his human rights. violation of the laws of Uganda. But now I want to emphasize, underline that Dr. Besigye is not there because he stole anything, he was corrupt, he's accused of corruption, or he owes a debt, or he murdered someone. No, he's there for political reasons. He's being criminalized, not the first time. He's being criminalized because he has challenged and has put forward himself as a candidate in elections, and we are in election time. If it was just about him personally, it would be bad enough. But the fact that it's political, and he's not the only one, that many other political activists are also languishing in jail there, makes it a matter for everyone. It's a political question. It's about contestation. It's about whether or not Ugandans are allowed to have different points of view, to choose their leaders, to field whoever they want. That is the issue. That is why Dr. Besigye is there. I am angry because as my family member, he's being persecuted. He's being denied bail. I'm demanding for bail for him. Our lawyers are. We want the matter of his bail to be heard, and heard soon, and he needs to be back home in healthy conditions, in human conditions, as he answers that case that is framed against him. Let me also say that on the political side, without being partisan, I am not talking for the opposition, I'm not talking for the government, I'm just speaking as a Ugandan. We need a predictable, transparent, democratic process to change leadership. We have a leader who is a historic figure. He's been there for 40 years. He did great things. He turned this country around when we were having horrible elections. Our economy was sinking. He challenged that. We followed him. And we turned the country around. We did. Some people want to say to rewrite the history. They are wrong. We did. We restored many things. We had a process that brought us a new constitution, a consultative process. We empowered people through LCs. We were calling them RCs. We brought women, youth, people with disabilities into political process to participate, have a voice. The economy was turned around. We arrived here when there was no sugar in the shops, nothing. Brought back Indians, restored manufacturing, and many good things happened. But today, we are back in a political stalemate. And my plea to President Museveni is that he rises again. He's an old man. He can protect his legacy, the good things he did, by securing a transitional process, leading a transitional process that brings us to new leadership peacefully. We don't deserve violent elections again. We don't want to go back to 1980, but that's where we have gone. So my plea to President Museveni is, talk to your opposition, don't criminalize them, talk to them. My plea is, restore us to the rule of law and the democratic path. Ensure a free and fair election. These things are not hard. Now, I want to say that if we do not do this, the real victims of a flawed political process, a violent political process, are our young people. Today, they are the ones who really break my heart. When I see thousands, my own nephews and nieces, children I know, or the young people I see on the streets expressing their frustration, they are out there without a future. Unemployment amongst our young people up to the age of 24 who are university graduates is at 83%. 83% of them are without a job and without a future. Every year, Uganda puts into the market 700,000 young people. Out of those, only 90,000 get jobs. The rest don't know what is there for them. Suspended future. How can we change this if we do not have a way to bring in leaders who are serious, who have a plan for how to create jobs for our young people? If we must hang on and in uncertainty, who is going to keep investing in this economy? We are seeing money leaving our country. I was in Kenya the other day. I was so shocked to hear in the real estate market that Ugandans are now the leading investors in real estate in Kenya. Buying up apartments, Why? Because they don't feel confident. They are uncertain about the future here. Money is going out. Our civil servants, people in the public offices, are stealing more and more. The corruption is going up because also of uncertainty about the future. Investments are not coming in. Civil servants are stealing. I'm not saying the only reason is because of uncertainty, but certainly it drives the desire to divert resources. Corruption is costing us $2.5 billion every year. $2.5 billion. It's estimated that 25% of our national budget is diverted in corruption, taking services away from people, health, education. So we are at a moment where we need to break out of this cycle of bad politics, slower growth, rising unemployment, rising corruption, impunity because all these people are part of a patronage system and cannot be touched. So we have impunity for corruption. So we need to break out of that. And it is leadership that will help us. It is President Museveni who can help us to change that. And I appeal to him. Free Dr. Besigye, free your political opponents, talk to them, dialogue with them, reform the laws, ensure a process of changing leaders that will secure your legacy. That is what I want to say. I want to then also talk about HIV/AIDS and say, on this front, I want to say that the whole world is disrupted, particularly Africa, because of the funding cuts by the American government that happened in February. But I want to say that while this was disruptive because of the immediacy, the fact that it happened suddenly without notice, I love birds. I want to say that I'm seeing efforts by governments across Africa to fill that gap that was created, and that's good. Uganda too is trying very hard to fill the gap, but we still see that it's very challenging because in terms of our budgets, we are having to pay high interest rates on the debt. That's taking away resources. And then we have other challenges like low domestic revenue mobilization. We have disasters that happen all the time because of climate change. So our countries are challenged, but yet must reallocate to save lives. I thank the government of Uganda because there was an immediate response to reallocate. I also see other governments in the region doing the same. That's good. We have to save lives, but we must also protect. We must put money in prevention also. And there are good medicines coming that will help to prevent HIV. So on that front, I encourage the government to continue path of reprioritizing and saving lives.
I would imagine that you have the connections. People were once, you know, President Museveni very well, you have quite a lot of leadership. Have you, at a personal level, tried to initiate talks, or have you tried to approach his contemporaries to talk to him? Because I see there have been a lot of appeals to the media, but are there other mechanisms of you trying to get to the president?
Thank you for your question. You're right that Besigye's imprisonment is political. He has not committed a crime. He's really there for political reasons. This is about the contest, about the political transition. So it needs to be solved politically. The courts will not solve it. The courts are being used to keep him in prison. And you can see that since they arrested him up to now, it's 6 months, they've not even been able to try him. They've been investigating endlessly. Yes, I have talked to some people who are in the executive branch and encouraged them to have a political dialogue. I have talked to some. And I also see that there are many governments that are also trying to encourage President Museveni to find a political solution and not to criminalize. So, yes, we are trying. We are going to keep arguing for urging President Museveni to have a dialogue and not to criminalize, not just Dr. Besigye, all other political prisoners, and there are many. What's important is it doesn't matter the form, really. It can take any form, but it's important that a dialogue sets clear objectives. Why the dialogue? We need a dialogue because we have slipped off the democratic path. We made a constitution, we have electoral laws, but they've continued to change the constitution, change the electoral laws in ways that have led to this kind of violence, and actually we're moving away from the rule of law. We don't even respect the rules we make. So we need to have a dialogue to restore us on the path of on some reforms that will make elections truly fair and able to deliver the outcomes of people that people want, to reflect the will of the people. We need to have a discussion around the role of the military and the security forces in elections, because much of the violence is driven by the security agencies. We need to have a dialogue regarding the use of money and bribery in elections. These are the things that fail us from choosing the leaders we need and result in instability. So having clear objectives is important, and having a process that is facilitated neutrally. I mean, this is going to would take some humility and trust on the part of President Museveni and his NRM party to trust some neutral facilitation, and to be humble enough to admit that we need help to have a good dialogue, that you can't be the one who is controlling the dialogue, then there's no trust from your opposition. So these are some of the things you need to have. But it all will take courage on the part of the president, and a genuine understanding that the positive things he has done can only be protected and taken forward when the process of replacing him is free and fair and predictable. Otherwise, if it's a forced and an illegitimate way of replacing him, we will fall back into more and more chaos. It won't be a solution. By the way, Dr. Kizza BESIGYE has, I don't think it's ever happened before that there is a case, a criminal case against someone, and there's such a huge team of lawyers offering themselves for free, pro bono, to defend an individual charged with a criminal case. I don't think it's ever happened. There are more than 50 Ugandan lawyers who have offered themselves and are fighting this case. They are joined by lawyers from the region. They keep coming each time he's appearing, from Kenya, from Tanzania, from even as far as the Comoros. There are international lawyers behind this case, international human rights organizations putting themselves forward to support him, to fight his case, because they see the injustice of it and they see the political implications for Uganda and even for the region. So there's a lot of interest and a lot of support. He has applied for bail twice, and each time they are deflecting, and we know why. President Museveni himself has said openly that he must not be given bail. So the judges are interested in justice, but at the same time they think about their careers, because they are also appointed through a system that President Museveni influences. So they are unable to deliver justice, and so they keep deflecting. So, but I'm saying now it's too much. This is unacceptable. You can't have a man who's 69 years old, who is being held in, it's some kind of solitary confinement, because he's not allowed to talk to any other prisoners. He's not allowed to socialize with them, even to pray with them. And now he's been attacked by bed bugs. He's being bitten by bed bugs, and he has a right to bail. This is violation. This is undermining his health. This is humiliating him. This is persecution. It must stop. It must stop. The BESIGYE I know is open to dialogue. Why? Because he's a Democrat. And he has put himself out, dedicated himself to this struggle to give Ugandans a fair chance to choose their leaders, and he has been fighting on a democratic agenda of fighting poverty, achieving equality. So if there's dialogue, why won't he come to the table? Of course he would come to the table. But as I said, the dialogue needs to be intentional and needs to be credible, and that's the kind of dialogue we are asking for.
Maybe lastly from me is, to what extent has this incarceration broken his spirit? Because I know you've interfaced with him more closely than any of us. We know that this, we look at the new BESIGYE. Has he changed? Is he willing?
I've met him twice this week. I went to see him on Monday. I saw him on Wednesday, and indeed I've been here just to see him for a few days. BESIGYE will not break. His spirit will not break. He's a person who is, by his nature, a very determined person and very purposeful. He thinks, he decides what he wants to do, and he goes for it, and he's always ready to pay the price for what he believes is just and right. So he's not broken. In fact, people who visit him say that he motivates them, that's what I found. I found him, he's worried about his situation. He's not enjoying it, definitely not. He's worried about his condition, but definitely still resolute and asserting his innocence and ready to defend himself.
Recently, we saw that President Museveni assented to the UPDF amendment, which is now the act. What does this mean? What do you think this means to BESIGYE's trial?
That was a sad day for Uganda. The day he signed that bill that is reversing a Supreme Court decision that the Constitution of Uganda protects civilians by not allowing them to be in military courts. That the Supreme Court read the Constitution and said Ugandan civilians should not be tried by the military. And he pays members of parliament money at night in cash, and they come before parliament and they pass a law reversing the Supreme Court, and then he assents to it. I have compared this to what we say in the Catholic faith. We have a sin we call sacrilege. That is a sin that's not forgivable. It is a very grave sin. It is really an assault on our Constitution. It's the most important assault, I think, we have had on our Constitution. It's a reversal of what we achieved for Uganda when we made the 1995 Constitution. I was a constitution maker. I felt hurt. Not because it has implications for my husband, which it could, but for our country, for our people, and for all those young people who are languishing in jail, like the 15 or so people who are with BESIGYE in the cell he's in, who've been there for 10 years, thrown there and forgotten on remand. So this has serious implications for many families, but also for the future of our country. Constitutionalism, rule of law, democracy. Dr. BESIGYE embeera ye si nnungi, kubanga ye si musibe ng'abalala. Ye musibe busibe. Abalala basibe balina olukusa okutambula, okugenda wamu ne basaba, oluusi bazanya n'omupiira, naye ye takkirizibwa. Bamusibidde ate mu kaprizona akatono munda ya prison enene yekomera. Balimu abantu nga 15 abalala, ate abo bamazeemu emyaka kumpi 10. Babaleeta ne babasuula awo ne babaga nti bo ba ADF, naye bo bagamba nti si ba ADF. Bamazeemu emyaka 10 tebawozanga, babeerabira ne babasuula. Naye oluusi babagamba nti bwe musaba okusonyiwa ne mugamba nti muli ba ADF, tujja batta. Awo naye bambi bagamba nti si ba ADF, naye bali wamu mu kasenge. Ye alina akasenge akatono ennyo, mulimu akamooli, naye kali waggulu ngaawo okumpi n'ettaala eyo. Oteekwa okulinnya okutuuka ku kamooli ako, toyinza na kulinnya ku kitanda so light teyingira bulungi. Ate bw'afuluma waliwo akasenge akatono kenkana nga wano, mwe bafumbira, mwayimirira awo wokka wasobola okutambula, ate si budde bwonna. Sementi, tewali ntebe, tewali kintu kyonna. Eyo embeera. Kaakati ambuulidde nti simanyi bwe bayita bed bugs mu Luganda. Ebiku byamukubye bimuluma. Awo waali omusajja omukulu w'emyaka 69 how do you say abducted? Gwe baawambira Kenya. okuva olwo buli tteeka lyonna erimukwatako balimenya okutuusa kati yandibadde wano, yandibadde afunye beiru si jaji nti asazewo takuwa, it's a right. Oba omaze emyezi egyo gyonna nga towoze, tebakuleese mu kooti kuwoza omusango, you have a right to bail. Naye ye bamubuzaabuza tebamu. So ebimukwatako byonna byakumenya mateeka. Ate ensonga tugimanyi, ensonga eri political. Teyabba ssente za muntu, tebamubanja, tali corrupt, tatanga muntu, naye ali mukomera ku nsonga za politics. So nsaba President Museveni ne gavumenti ye leka okubonyaabonya omuntu, musajja mukulu, leka okuwakanya beyiro, afune beyiro ye ajje wano, oba mulina omusango ajja kuguwoza, tajja kudduka, taddukangako, abeera wano bamuwe beyiro. Ate n'ebyo ebyemisango babiveemu, bateese, bateekeko n'akalulu akalina ak'amazima, eggwanga ligende mu maaso, abaana bafune emirimu. Ze kisinga okunnuma baana baffe, abaana mu Luganda sikimanyi 83% y'abaana baffe abaasoma balina diguri, tebalina mirimu. Tewali alowooza kiki ekyokukola okulaba nti abaana baffe, ate ebyokukola bingi. Ate n'amawanga balaba bagezaako okufunira abaana ebyokukola ng'ebyo ebya digital economy, ng'ebyo ebya green economy ng'ebyo ebyobulimi ebiri smart, ebitookya butonde bwansi, ebyo byonna birimu ssente. Waliwo ne kye tuyita care economy. Care economy kwegamba kati mu ggwanga lyaffe abantu beeyongedde okukula, tebafa ng'edda. Kaakati buli omu alina jjajja we. Abantu bangi balina bajjajja b'emyaka 80, 90, ate nga bali wano bakola emirimu, tebalina wakubalabirira waka. Balina obwana obuto ate bakola mu katale, tebalina wakubalabirira. Kaakati egyo emirimu egy'okulabirira abantu, abakadde, abalema, abaana, mulimu ssente. Nabyo bw'oyamba abaana okubitegeka obulungi, n'obayamba okuteekamu ssente, bakola emirimu mingi eyokulabirira abantu. Kubanga kati buli omu yenna yeetaaga omukozi amuyamba asobole naye okukola. Ebyo nabyo gyebiri. Nga bwe mbabuulidde byaddi, waliwo ne bye bayita business process outsourcing, BPO. Ebyo byo birimu ssente nnyingi. Bw'olaba zino ensi engaga, emirimu mingi bagireeta waffe, kubanga ffe obusente abo bwe tukwata bw'emisaala butono okusinga abantu baabwe. So osanga kati nga amalwaliro, amasomero, hoteeri, byonna ebikwata ku accounts, ebikwata ku ebikolebwa mu ma office okulabirira business, babiwa abantu baffe. Abantu olaba nti kati bw'okuba essimu ng'okubira banka yo eya international, eddoboozi ly'owulira lya muyindi, ate banka eri America, kubanga bakozesa abayindi okukola emirimu egyo egitalina feesi. Kale naffe egyo emirimu tuyinza okukikola, kubanga abaana baffe bamanyi oluzungu, bamanyi okuwandiika n'okusoma, bamanyi tekinologi, okukozesa kompyuta. Egyo emirimu mingi nnyo, marketing, human resource, accounts, payroll, ebyo byonna babikolera mu mawanga amalala. Kaakati nga hoteeri ekola ebitabo, eyingiza abantu mu lunaku lwonna, naye emirimu gy'okubala ssente bagisindika mu ggwanga eddala. Results zijja ku makya awo nga bakola emirimu. Abauganda kakati olaba nti ebyo byonna byandibadde bituyamba, naye tuli locked mu political conflict. Tuli locked, tetulowooza ku nsonga z'abantu. Ate n'abakola mu gavumenti beeyongera okubba kubanga tebalaba eggwanga gye liraga. Okubba kweyongedde kubanga eyo political conflict ereetera abantu okunoonya ssente mu ngeri yonna. Si ebyo byonna tulina okulaba kino, eno problem ya politics tugiteekereko solution, tulyoke tukole ku nsonga z'abaana baffe. Ebyo byenjogeddeko.
Ensonga ya A.
Weebale. Ku nsonga ya siriimu, obulwadde bwa siriimu twafuna ekizibu ekinene kubanga mawanga gaffe okusinga nnyo wano mu Africa, obulwadde buno buli nnyo mu Africa. Twali tuyambibwa amawanga amagagga okusinga nnyo United States government. President omupya n'aggyawo ssente ze ng'atatuwadde warning. Kati amawanga gaffe ne gesanga nga gayina obuzibu bw'okusasula emisaala gy'abakozi abakola ku bya siriimu, abasawo, banaasi, ba community workers, counselors. Eyo etteeka libi nnyo nnyo kubanga eryo etteeka likyusa ekyasalwawo abalamuzi abakulu, Supreme Court. Ate Supreme Court yerina power ey'okusalawo ku nsonga za constitution. Kale abantu baateekayo ekibuuzo nti omuntu civilian yandibadde agenda mu kooti ey'amagye, kooti eya Supreme n'egamba nti no, owa bulijjo agenda mu kooti ez'abantu aba bulijjo. Mapalamenti nga bwe mubamanyi babawa ssente, nawulira nti babawa kiro gemazima bafuna ssente. Lwaki ofuna ssente kiro? Nti babawa cash. Ssente za gavumenti tebaziwa cash, bakuwa cheeki osayininga, bwezityo bwe zigenda accountability ku ssente z'abantu kubanga zi ssente z'abantu za misolo gy'abantu. Naye bakwata ssente ne bakyusa ekooti kyazasalawo. Okwo kuwamba, buwambi nabwo simanyi Oluganda lunyemyawo. Nagambye kakati kankiteeke mu Luganda ne mu ddiini yaffe, mu ddiini yaffe ey'Ekikatoliki tugamba nti eno saakiruleego, saakiruleego bwe bagiyita. Kwegamba eyo nsobi esingayo, nsobi esingayo kubanga osazeewo kumenya constitution ng'oyise mu ekitongole ekya president kisasudde ba parliament bakyuse ekisaliddwamu kooti. Simanyi bwe nnyinza okukibabuulira, naye kibi nnyo 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 era kitutadde mu mbeera empya ey'okumenya constitution ng'emenyeddwa abo abandibadde nga batukulembera okugikolerako. Kankireka awo, kibi nnyo. Ndowooza kijja, ate ntya nnyo ku baana abato abaasibwa. Eriyo abaana bangi kusinga nnyo bano abagenda mu demonstrations, mu campaigns, bangi babasiba babatwala ne babasuula mu kooti y'amagye ne bali eyo mu kkomera myaka 6-7. abo abaana kaakati tebajja kuvaayo. Tubadde tumanye tugenda kubajjayo, emisango gyabwe gijja kudda mu kooti ey'abantu aba bulijjo babatte. Naye kaakati bajja kubeerayo, kooti ey'amagye tetuula. Bwe baba baagala batuula, bwe baba batatudde, nga bwe mbabuulidde eri abantu abamazeeyo emyaka 10. Tewali wogenda so ntya nnyo ku baana abo, era nsaasira bamaama baabwe ne bakitaabwe, kubanga kati etteeka lisazeewo nti babeereyo, amagye ge gajja okusalawo. Baana baffe, baana ba civilian. So kibi nnyo, kibi nnyo. Tujja kukikyusa, naye abantu bagamba nti ebintu bikyuka, temutya. Tujja kugezaako mu ngeri eri peaceful, tugezeeko okulaba nti tuzaawo enkola ey'amateeka, tudde ku nkola ey'amateeka. Abaana baffe babeeyi, tujja kukituukako.
Yogeddeko besides okulonda, kiki ekirala kyanditeereddwako essira mu dialogue eyo era yandibadde naye akikula ki?
You see, okugamba tugende mu dialogue si kufuna solution problem za Uganda zonna. Dialogue yandibadde ya kutusumulula mweno ngiyita political stalemate. Tujja mweno tuli mu cycle ya violence, bad elections, disrupted economy, no jobs, worsening rule of okugisumulula. Twetaaga okufokasinga ku ekyo ekizibu ekya politics, management of our politics, management of our elections. Era ndowooza singa tufuna dialogue eyo y'ensonga nkulu ey'okutunulamu, tukole tutya okulaba nti tunoonya abakulembeze baffe mu ngeri entuufu ey'amazima etaliimu okutulugunya abantu. Tunaagyamu tutya ab'amagye ne security bave mu bulungi, kuba be basinga okuleeta ebyo bya violence. Tukole tutya okulaba nti abantu tebateekamu ssente kugula abantu, kubanga nakyo kitabula obulumi. Tukole tutya okulaba nti abantu tebatiisatiisibwa. Ebyo bye bikulu okutunulamu. Tudde mu mateeka, tulabe nti obululu bugenda bulungi. Eyo dialogue yandibaddewo. Ate mu dialogue ng'eyo weetaaga okubeerawo nga referee, kubanga bu side ziri katugambe ebbiri, opposition ne government. Tebasobola okwogera nga tebalina referee. Era abakulembeze abali mu gavumenti balina okukikkiriza nti si bo abasobola okukyeyalinga dialogue ng'eyo, nabo batuule ku sayidi eyaabwe. Waakiri bateekeko nga omuntu ali neutral, oba abanaddiini, naye nabo abanaddiini nabo tebatukoledde bulungi, basirise nnyo ku nsonga z'okutulugunya abantu. Naye bayinza okufunayo abantu oba abantu abasobola okutuuza dialogue n'okuteekako objectives entono naye zijja kutwanulookinga, si kukola ku nsonga zonna. Era oluusi nabo aba opposition oluusi sibategeera. W'obagamba nti tutuule tuteekeko ensonga za dialogue, oluusi baagala tuteekemu ensonga zonna, ekonome, biki. Toyinza kukola ku nsonga zonna mulundi gumu. Teekako eyo ensonga enkulu ey'okunoonya bulungi abakulembeze. Ebirala abakulembeze abapya bajja kubikolako. Ebyo byebikulu byendaba. That being so challenged at a personal level, having to remain worried and concerned about what's happening next. How can we get Dr. Kizza Besigye released? Yeah, has had its knock on me. Yeah, I'm a human being, and I get low, I get upset, I get angry, and that, yeah, spills over into my other work. I cannot deny that, but I do my best. It is what it is. It is what it is.
I asked you a question and you said you engaged cabinet colleagues and ministers and some senior elders. At a personal level, have you totally cut off? Is there no connection between you and the president? Because
No, not at all. I always try to, first of all, I try not to personalize these things. Things are not going well in our country, but we have to deal with them as public issues and not personalize them. Indeed, I get quite surprised when people are questioning me about why are you talking to this one in the government? Why are you congratulating a soldier in the army? These are personal things. If somebody makes makes an achievement, I say congratulations. If somebody is sick, I say sorry you are sick. I do not personalize the issues, and I do not break off relationships with people who support NRM just because they support NRM. No, but I am angry at how my husband is being treated, and I'm not going to hide that. I'm saying it, I'm criticizing President Museveni, I'm calling on him to stop this persecution. But if I get an opportunity to speak to him, I'll speak to him. And if I meet him in a social event, I will not refuse to talk to him or shake his hand. No way. I'm not like that.